Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast that we don't only record for money, we also do it for fun. Because this week we watched Delta and the Bannerman.
Written by Malcolm Kohll? Krohll. The power of Malcolm Kohll.
There's no R there, it's just Cole.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just Kohll.
Directed by Chris Clough.
It's apparently pronounced Clough. And aired in November of 1987.
Yes. Apparently, according to you, it's pronounced Chris Clough. Yeah, so Delta and the Bannerman.
Yeah, another serial that pretty much continues all the trends that the other two serials this season set up.
But once again, also better than the previous two.
I mean...
More fun than the previous two.
I guess. I mean...
And they only used 3 episodes to tell the story instead of dragging it out to 4, so also smart.
Could have been 2.
Maybe, but better than doing it in 4.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the fact that the show is like on its last legs, which is why we're getting less episodes, but...
Well, apparently they were going to do a 6-episode finale for the season. That would have been terrible. And also they realized that it would be better to do 2 3-episode serials, whereas last season they had the same dilemma and instead split it into 4 and 2. So... Anyway, it begins with a shootout. I was like, well, this is this is the most intense opening we've had in a while. This doesn't start with any politics or anything. It's people shooting each other.
That's my kind of politics.
Okay. People shooting each other. Okay.
Yeah, a couple people die. There's some green guys and there's some
black guys.
Guys dressed in black. I thought these green guys were like the green army men toy things at first, but apparently not. Then I thought they were robots, but also apparently not. But I guess it doesn't really matter because only one of them even talks and he dies.
Yeah, but not immediately. He helps this lady.
He helps the princess. We find out later she's the princess.
White, and
she's not as green. She's not as green. She's a little green.
Well, I give up on the green when she lands on Earth. Just give up.
Well, I mean, they kind of try. She's like the very, very pale green, like the least green you can be and still be considered green.
Yeah, barely.
She's the princess, which we learn later, although I guess, she's the queen now for some reason. I guess
she's the queen because there's the new princess, which is that egg that she just has in her handbag.
Yeah, I guess also the old queen died, or I don't know.
She's the last of her race, so that would necessarily make her the queen, I suppose.
Well.
Her name is Delta, apparently.
Yeah, the Bannermen are the
black-dressed guys.
Yeah.
And they carry war banners. Wonder why they're called the Bannermen. So she steals a Bannerman spaceship with this other green dude. I think they're called the Chimerons, apparently.
Sure. They never said that in the episode, but whatever.
Wiki calls them the Chimerons, so... They do call them the Chimerons. Like, right at the end when the dog's like talking to Billy, he's like, I understand if you don't become a Chimeron, the race will die out.
Well, all right then.
So
yeah, they steal the ship, but the guy dies.
Yeah, Bannerman shows up. I think it's Gavrock, actually, and he shoots the guy, and the guy's like dying, and he shoots the Bannerman, and he like stumbles away from the ship, and Delta takes off. Cut to the Doctor and Mel in
winning
the TARDIS.
Something.
Yeah, and then landing on a pad.
And being like the 10 millionth visitor to something or the other, some travel agency or company or something. And this guy in purple sequiny clothes comes out and he's like...
Discount Willy Wonka.
Yeah, sure. He's like, hey, you guys just won a free trip to Disneyland.
And they're like, what? And he's like, in the 1950s.
Yeah, right when it just opened and probably sucked.
But rock and roll was cool back then, so it's okay.
It also wasn't $100 for a ticket.
It's also true. Well, they're going for free, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
or so they think.
This bus shows up, He's like, you're going with
something or other race who's disguising themselves as humans so they can go to the 50s because apparently they have this weird and strong affinity for the 50s on Earth.
I thought they were like the 1950s appreciation club or something.
An alien 50s appreciation club.
Yeah, they're like purple tentacle aliens that show up for 10 seconds because the guy's like, oh, don't worry, they're going through this disguise machine, and you see this alien
limbos through it or something. I'm like cheering him on. Meanwhile, on Earth,
we
meet two Americans, definitely Americans.
Weissmuller and like Hawk or something.
You can tell the guy's American because he's wearing a Yankees cap and a Yankees jacket.
Yeah, and that led me to believe it was going to be the Yankees manager, but then he picks up the phone and turns
out he's like a CIA agent.
Yeah, a CIA agent posted in some random city in Wales. It's not even a city, it's like a town. It's just the middle
of nowhere. There only seems to be one cottage in the area. Owned by probably the most awesome beekeeper in Britain.
Sherlock Holmes. No. But yeah, that's how you know the CIA really hates you, is that they post you in middle of nowhere Wales on assignment, and then they tell you to track this satellite they just launched into space. The only technology you have to do it is like a broadband radio.
And the fact that they both say later, like, that they've never seen a satellite and they have no idea what they are or what they look like.
Yeah. So they're just chilling on the countryside.
Yeah, so there's a police call box, I guess, just there. And, like, at first you think it's the TARDIS, right? But apparently not.
Oh, yeah, because the way they play it off, too, is that... the doctor's like, I'll follow the bus in the TARDIS because there's this bus taking all the people to Disneyland, and Mel's like, I'll go on the... Well, the doctor tells Mel to go on the bus. So he goes on the bus, and then Delta shows up and runs under the bus right before it takes off.
Right, and the suspicious guy sort of tails her.
Yeah, so...
And Mel actually mentions that she's never won anything before, which is pretty sad.
The serial is, like, really sad for Ray later.
Who was Ray again?
Ray's the Welsh woman.
Oh, the biker girl.
Who, like, wears cat ears at the dance, I think?
I don't know.
Or a big bow, I'm not sure. No, but yeah, so the doc's like, I'll follow in the TARDIS, and then cut to police box sitting in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, oh, it's the TARDIS. No, it's actually a call box.
Yeah, so was this real? Did they actually put those things, like, just in the middle of the forest?
It wasn't really a forest, more of a meadow.
All right, sure.
But I
mean,
don't
still.
know. I don't know.
So yeah, they try to contact Washington, who is, of course, no help. That
Typical.
Part's realistic.
Yeah, it is. Most realistic part of the serial, actually. No, the bus...
and the killer bees. Those are pretty realistic.
Clearly. So the bus hits the satellite.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens.
Gets lodged in the engine.
I guess that's what you can interpret from the scene they show us.
Well, later on they land on Earth and the satellite is wedged in the front of the bus, so...
Yeah, was that on the front of the bus?
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't get what that shot was supposed to be, but sure.
Because then they take it out, and it like clearly looks like they made it out of cardboard and painted it silver. And then they call Billy, and they're like, we need you to fix the engine.
Right, and Billy is sort of this biker guy.
Mechanic. He works at this place called Shangri-La because they land like thousands of miles away from Disneyland thanks to that satellite hitting the bus.
But on the bright side, this place is probably better than Disneyland. Okay. Better priced, maybe, so. Yeah, Shangri-La, it's a resort type thing, although...
in the middle of nowhere, Wales.
I think it's just a vacation house that you rent, or like, I don't know what it is, honestly. Oh, it's a camp, that's right.
Shangri-La.
It's a camp, so,
with hotel rooms.
Yeah, they need some sort of crystal or other to get the bus working again.
This is so dumb. The doctor's like, I've got the only crystal this side of like some thing in space. Don't break it. And then Murray's like, okay. And he goes to put it in the ship and he immediately
Murray's
breaks
the driver,
it.
Yep.
He's like, I broke it. And the doctor's like,
oh, I can grow a new one, but it'll take a day.
So he does that. And they have to chill at Shangri-La for a day. And the owner guy comes out.
I mean, everyone seems pretty okay with it since they like rock and roll there so much.
Yeah. The owner comes out and he thinks there's some other group. And they're like, no, we're from space. And he's like, yeah, sure, you're from space.
Honestly, the owner guy was like set up to be kind of eccentric and whatever. I thought he was just going to accept it. But apparently not. He does kind of just accept it later, though.
Yeah. When they explain the Bannerman, he just kind of rolls with it. He's like, oh, okay.
So meanwhile, Delta has sort of... she and Mel are sharing a room, and I guess all of Mel's outfits have polka dots on them, because Mel lends Delta an outfit with polka dots on it.
Polka dot eccentric.
And Delta's kind of cold / a D-bag.
Maybe it's because of those polka dots. She just doesn't like polka dots. But yeah, apparently being cold / a D-bag is what Billy is attracted to because he's totally in on that. So it just so happens they landed there the night of the like throwback or whatever dance.
Well, it's not really
a throwback.
I mean, yeah, they're in the 50s.
It's more of a now back. It had a name.
Yeah, they sing that song, Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
Oh, Billy's like, we're going to play a slow one for you now. And then
it's not really a slow one.
Yeah, that's not a slow song. Well, that's when it's revealed that he's totally got the hots, so to speak, for Delta, because he's like, this goes out to a very special lady. And this is also when you find out
it's not you, Ray.
Yeah, Ray and Billy have been friends since childhood, and Ray has got the hots for Billy. But Billy's like, I'm going to sing this song for a special someone, and he looks right at Delta.
Yeah, I know nothing about.
Not 2 hours ago.
And is a cold-hearted D-bag.
And apparently Keff McCulloch makes a cameo appearance on stage as one of the band members. Because apparently they couldn't use the original versions of all these songs they use in this serial, so they had to record their own versions. And Keff McCulloch is part of the band. So, also his music for the serial was much better than his previous two because he didn't use those obnoxious 80s hits as much.
I mean, it still was kind of out of place. I mean, when the Bannermen were chasing them all over the place and it was playing like this fun chase music.
It felt pretty 50s to me.
I mean, I guess, but it did the thing where it did last week and 2 weeks ago where it starts and stops in really weird places.
That is true. It does kind of just show up and then just disappear.
Especially in the scene where the doctor confronts Gavrock, but we'll get there. Because meanwhile, Gavrock has showed up at the travel agency thing and has killed the guy who gave the doctor and Mel the free tickets.
Yeah.
Ruthlessly.
In the back. Shot him in the back.
Shot through the heart. And Gavrock's to blame.
Billy gives love a bad name.
But I mean, at least he saved the, whatever they're called, the Chimerans. I guess.
I mean, he may have also doomed them to an eternity of genetic mutation.
Yeah, but we don't know that.
But we don't know that he really saved, quote unquote, them either.
Yeah, but we can just assume that because it's better.
Well, anyway, so Ray's like having a breakdown on the dance floor. And the doctor's like, Ray, would you like to? And she's like, yes, doctor. So the doctor like awkwardly dances with Ray.
Kind of like how yesterday. All right, I'm not going to.
That's not.
This is the first. This is the first of our episodes recorded in the Trump administration.
That should tell you all you need to know about the reference Keanu was going to make right there.
And like, yeah, there's this thing. This was a bit earlier where Ray's like super into bikes, right? And someone, I think it's the doctor, asks her how she got into bikes, and she's like, oh, well, I just wanted to impress Billy. And it's like, oh, of course, this one character trait that you have has to be related to like a romantic thing.
Well, apparently Ray was written as a replacement for Mel because Bonnie Langford was supposedly thinking about leaving. And that was as far as I read in the story note because I didn't want to spoil when she actually left. But it's not in this serial, which means they didn't actually end up using Ray as a replacement for Mel. But I guess her character arc would have been moving on from Billy in the TARDIS with the Doctor.
Which would have been pretty lame and terrible, so thanks for not sticking around, Ray.
Yeah, she's like clearly still into Billy at the end of the serial. Sadly, I don't know. I feel kind of bad for Ray.
It wasn't that sad. I mean, yeah, it was kind of sad, but it like really wasn't that sad.
I just feel kind of bad for Ray.
These characters with a couple minutes of screen time.
Ray had the most screen time out of any serial-specific character this week. The Doctor basically sidelined Mel for Ray.
I mean, I guess, and there's also the fact that Billy seems kind of not sane.
A good person? Oh, that's also true.
Anyway, the dude who is tailing Delta shows up in the clothing
the laundry room.
The laundry room.
Ray runs off in there and the Doctor goes after. He's like, what's wrong? And then they hear this bounty hunter
contacting the Bannerman about how he's found Delta, and they're like, sweet, we'll get you your reward as soon as we home in on the signal. And they somehow kill him remotely.
Well, the Doctor sneezes and it ends with the bounty hunter like, yes, I get to kill the Doctor. And then episode 2 begins with them blowing up the transceiver the bounty hunter was using.
Which I guess they can do. The bounty hunter also goes, well, the Doctor asks him to spare Ray because she doesn't have anything to do with what's going on. And he's like, don't you get it, Doctor? I don't only kill for money. I also kill for fun. And then he also makes this weird reference about how the Doctor's like a wanted man, which I guess makes sense, but yeah.
He's wanted for abdicating the presidency on Gallifrey. Yeah, maybe after failing to kill the Doctor in the trial, the Valeyard put out a bounty on the Doctor's head.
Maybe.
What happens next? I completely forgot. Episode 2 has the least going on of the 3.
Episode 3 was kind of there as well. I think Gavrok and Co. arrive.
Oh, they show up in their spaceship when they like crush the flowers outside Shangri-La. Shangri-La.
The two CIA agents are roaming around doing stuff.
Trying to track the satellite they don't know what looks like.
They meet this beekeeper dude and ask him if he's seen anything weird in the sky, and he's like, nope, not really. And he gives them this lecture about like bees and stuff.
Where he says the bees know everything and the bees say something's coming. I'm like, okay, dude. So yeah, the Bannermen end up I think they find the CIA agents first and they capture them.
Yeah, they put them in like this neck brace thing.
No, the neck brace is later. First they're gonna kill them and then they just capture them. And then after the Doctor helps Mel and the owner dude escape, that's when they put them in the neck brace.
Yeah, they give them like 3 warning shots, which they don't do for anyone else. So
yeah, Weiss, Muller, and Park or Horn or whatever the guy's name was, they're important characters.
Yeah,
they should have been the next companion.
The one guy, I don't know which one it was, but the guy in the hat,
Weissmuller.
Not the Yankees hat, the other hat.
I think that was Horn or Hawk or whatever.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what kind of accent he was attempting, because it sounded like just every kind of American accent rolled into one.
Just all of them. Yeah, these accents were not that great.
No, they weren't. They reminded me of that guy from Tomb of the Cybermen. Kind of.
So the Doctor tells the owner guy, I don't remember his name, that they need to evacuate Shangri-La because the Bannermen are coming to look for Delta. Oh yeah, the egg hatches too.
That's at the end of episode 2, I think.
No, it's at the end of it has to be at the end of episode 1. Because it hatches in
I
the
guess
apartment.
It's a simultaneous cliffhanger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Delta, I guess, has an egg, which either I wasn't paying attention or it just wasn't even a part of the
just
story.
Showed up. Or I wasn't paying attention either.
But yeah, it hatches into this like grotesque green thing.
Green sill baby.
Yeah, I guess. And before this, the beekeeper dude had met, or I think it's actually at the beginning of episode 2 or something, the beekeeper dude mentions how at first the larva looks really disgusting and then it grows up into a majestic butterfly. You're like, I wonder what's that. Butterfly. Wonder what that's going to parallel. Which is super obvious because in the next scene where you see the green baby thing, it's a human baby.
Look, at least the attempting things like that.
Foreshadowing. It's kind of dumb though, but I wonder how many actresses, well, I guess quote-unquote actresses, since a lot of them were just babies, they got to play this girl, the new princess, because it seemed like a different one in every scene.
Because she kept growing older at a rapidly increased rate. Delta was like, yeah, she'll be pretty much full-sized in about a day. And as she grows, they get progressively and lazier with the green makeup on the princess as well.
Yeah, I think it's supposed, because Delta was like not really that green, so I think it's like, oh, she grows up and she gets a lot less green.
I guess.
I don't know why the other, what were they?
Chimerons.
Chimerons were like solid green, but hey.
Maybe
whatever.
Because they were all male.
Oh yeah, maybe she's supposed to be like the queen bee or something. Like there's only one female. I don't know.
There was that whole thing with the royal jelly, which sounds
really suggestive.
True. Parallels that green food that Delta's feeding to the baby.
And also Billy, apparently.
She didn't feed it to Billy, he stole it. Yeah, nowish, actually, in episode 2.
He kind of just takes it of his own accord. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, so Delta's like, I've been feeding this to her to increase her growth rate and to make her more of a princess, I guess. And he's like, oh, okay, and then he steals some.
Yeah, he
just wants to be a fabulous princess. We shouldn't judge his life choices.
So meanwhile, Gavrok has done some pretty bad stuff, and they try and evacuate the camp. Successfully, I guess. Well, not for the people on the bus, but for the employees, because Gavrok and Co. end up killing everyone on the bus.
Yeah.
And Gavrok has Mel at gunpoint, and he asks her whether or not Delta was on the bus, and she's like, yep, totally.
And then Delta shows up with the doctor because they came back looking for Mel, and she's like, no!
Yeah, we forgot the part where Delta goes off with Billy, and Ray and the doctor kind of go after them, and they're having like this picnic or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's most of episode 2 is Delta's like, let's go, Billy, and Billy's like, all right, let's go. And Ray's like, I know all the secret spots. Billy used to take me to them all the time. And they find them, predictably, at the last spot they check.
Sure.
It is predictable.
So anyway, they get back. Some more chases ensue.
Yeah, well, Gavrok captures Mel and the guy who owns Shangri-La, I guess, and then episode 2 ends with the doctor showing up on Billy's motorbike.
Yeah, he goes and confronts Gavrok and...
under the white flag of truce.
Which they shoot down. Then the doctor gives this whole big speech about it, which, I mean, I guess was fine, but, like, it's delivered to Gavrok, this villain who we know barely anything about and have seen for all of 2 minutes. So, like, I would understand if he gave, like, a whole big speech to, like, Davros or something, or the Daleks, or Cybermen, or, the Master, but to Gavrok, really?
I think they're just trying to set up... I think what they finally settled on is that this doctor doesn't really give second chances to villains. And I think that's what they're trying to set up here with this whole speech to Gavrok. I mean, he's only just met Gavrok and he's already like, you've killed all these people. Like, there's no coming back for you from this. Which is interesting. We'll see if that's actually what they're trying to set up, but...
It's probably not going to amount to anything, but hey.
We can hope. And I have faith in Andrew Cartmel, new script editor.
So the cliffhanger to this is that they're about to let the doctor and everyone just walk away, and then they pull their guns on them as they're about to bike away.
Yeah, they're going to shoot them in the back, which I guess means that whole way they killed that discount Willy Wonka dude was sort of foreshadowing.
Sure, I guess, yeah.
But
then like episode 3, they just resolve it as like, we're just gonna let you go anyway. Weirdly enough.
I guess because they just want Delta, they don't want the Doctor. Plus, I guess they also let them go because they still have Weissmuller and
Mel.
Hawk. No, they let Mel go.
Oh yeah, they let Mel go.
Weissmuller and Hawk. This is when they put them in that
those
neck
two
brace.
people that nobody knows or cares about.
But then,
I guess they'd want to save them anyway, but hey.
Delta helps them out of the neck brace.
Yeah, so this part was weird. One of the guys, the Yankees guy, goes...
Weissmuller.
Yeah, sure, him.
I remember his name because every scene he was in, they mentioned it. Hey, Weissmuller.
He goes, hey, do you think you can get this thing open? They used something that looked like some sort of wrench that you probably don't have. And she's like, oh, I actually do have it. And I was like, what? This alien technology is compatible with this wrench that she happens to have? That's pretty convenient.
Yeah, it uses Earth-grade sprocket wrenches. Haven't you heard that that's... It's just the galaxy-accepted norm is...
Yeah, alongside the white flags of truce. It's just the universe-wide thing.
We forgot the scene where the Doctor convinces the owner of Shangri-La of the aliens by showing him the inside of the TARDIS. Which they thankfully didn't actually show us the scene inside the TARDIS. They just cut to him coming out of the TARDIS and going, wow, it's bigger on the inside.
Yeah. I don't know why it would have been so bad if they had shown a scene with him inside.
Because they did that for an entire season in the Fifth Doctor, and none of them were executed well.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna do it bad here. Necessarily. Anyway, episode 3 is a lot of running around.
Yeah, but it has more substance than episode 2.
It's more substantial running around.
Yeah, because Gavrok is chasing down Delta, and they find the beekeeper, and the beekeeper's like, I've got all this
honey.
He says he's got 10,000 jars of honey.
It's like, no, you don't. I guess I missed that line. But yeah, he's actually been saving some of this honey since like the 20s. So I didn't know that aged honey was like a thing, but apparently it is.
Yeah, I guess. So the Doctor's like, well, we'll use this honey as a weapon. And later when you see the honey storage room, there's very clearly a lot less than 10,000 jars in there.
Well, he probably didn't want to waste his entire stockpile on these jokers. Since he was clearly the most powerful person in this serial. It's actually true. He was the most in control out of anyone, honestly.
Well, it's because he's got his life under control.
And he has those bee allies. Who are apparently trained to kill. So yeah, the Bannerman along with Gavrok run into the shed or whatever, and they, I guess, run into these shelves full of honey, which come crashing down. We forgot the scene where
Delta brutally murders a Bannerman. Because they show up at first to come kill Delta, and then she kills one.
It wasn't that brutal. It was more of a gunshot. It's pretty easy to pull the trigger. I mean, not that I would know.
Okay.
Totally not being sarcastic or kidding here.
Next thing I'll know, tomorrow it'll be like, there's a warrant out for Keon's arrest. He's wanted for murder in 6 states.
No, everything I'm saying is completely serious right now. It actually is, and not being sarcastic at all. Nope.
One of the Bannermen gets away, and that's why they come back to the house, because he reveals to Gavrok that they're at the house.
We also didn't mention the Bannerman war cry or whatever it was, where they all stick out their bloody red tongues. So that was kind of cool. / terrifying.
Yeah, so they home alone that house by they play rock and roll music to convince them that they're still inside.
Oh, and also they like booby trap the TARDIS, and they devise this plan to like burrow under it and come up within the shadow, because apparently the trap only reacts in the light or whatever. But they never execute that plan, so yeah. And they write it off. I guess the entire point of that subplot was just to waste time, because they write it off in the most stupid and unconvincing way possible in the last 1 minute of the serial.
Well, Gavrok stumbles into the explosive thing, and that's how he dies. And the doctor's like, yeah, I used up all its energy on Gavrok.
Yeah, well,
And all those
still.
mini explosions before Gavrok, I guess.
Yeah, I guess all the other Bannermen live.
Yeah. They get exiled to...
Earth. No.
Well, I forgot what I was going to say.
They get exiled to the moon, the best planet in the solar system.
No. The Ice Warriors are there.
No, they're on Mars.
Didn't they establish that base on the moon?
Wasn't that the Cybermen? The moon base? They tried to establish that base.
No, I'm talking about a different serial.
Also, the moon's not a planet. It was just a Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader reference, which I've been watching recently, which nobody would get. The lady said the moon was a planet, so yeah, that's what it was a reference to.
No, there was another Sixth Doctor serial. He sends the Ice Warriors into the sun at the end of the serial.
A Sixth Doctor?
Second Doctor.
Oh. Yeah, that was this. Wasn't that in the space? Well, that was right after the Space Pirates was right after that, where they sent
the one with the
other group
T-Mat.
into the sun. Yeah, that was the first Ice Warriors serial, I think.
No, it was the second. The first,
I guess it was
the first
the
one was
second.
that Base Under Siege one, which was just called the Ice Warriors.
Yeah, well, I guess they established that they were on the moon in that.
Because there was the T-Mat system that went between the moon and the Earth, and the Ice Warriors captured the moon one and disabled the T-Mat, so that's why they had to take the rockets.
But they're not still there, I guess.
Yeah, but
maybe there was some like hiding out in the shadows, waiting for the time to strike. And
also, the
didn't
T-Mat
realize
system, I guess, would be way in the future compared to 1950, so they're probably not even there yet.
I don't know.
I don't know. So
yeah, then it kind of just ends.
Well, no, we forgot to mention that Billy's been eating the food.
He's been eating the Soylent Green. Not really.
Yeah, and he's like, see, I'm turning green. And I'm like, no, you're not. You don't look green at all. And then they call Delta the Shimmer at some point, which I guess is, I don't know.
There's also that high-pitched noise that the princess can apparently make.
That's how they save the day, is they hook up all the speakers in Shangri-La to this microphone, and the princess makes this high-pitched scream, and I was like, wow, it's just Victoria from the one with the seaweed all over again.
Fury from the Deep, I think that was.
I think that's what it was.
It wasn't Warriors of the Deep. That was one of the worst serials ever.
I mean, so was Fury from the Deep.
Nah. I don't think that's top 5 worst material.
It was when we watched it.
But not anymore.
It's in the top, 20.
Probably. So yeah, that happened. Billy decides to go off with Delta.
As a chameleon. Apparently he's turned into a chameleon now, and the doctor's just okay with this.
Yeah, I mean, apparently that's just the conclusion they draw. Like, who knows if this is going to have any disastrous side effects later on.
YOLO, right? They don't care about the future of their species. They're just living for the now.
I guess also Billy doesn't really care about anything because he kind of just makes this decision within a couple minutes.
No, he's obviously fallen in love with this woman he met a day ago, and he's clearly a cold, hard, D-bag to everyone except him, although also kind of to him too.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's the princess, / queen, so it's kind of forgivable. I mean, I don't understand why Billy, was so, what's the word?
Head over heels?
I guess, sure. But, yeah, Billy doesn't really seem all there anyway.
We got this funny scene where the owner of Shangri-La is just, I guess, messing around in his office with a katana. He's like, ha ha, haven't used this in 20 years and it's still sharp. And I'm like, what? Oh, and the doctor gets his trademark question mark umbrella in this serial too. Which he carries it sometimes by putting the handle into his pocket. And I'm like, I feel like that'd be really annoying when you're walking and just having this umbrella slapping against your chest.
Yeah, well, you don't know. You've never tried it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go. Actually, I don't think I can because I don't think any of the umbrellas I own have a curved handle like that.
Yeah, but I mean, we can probably pretty much say for sure that it's really annoying and uncomfortable. But I mean, we don't
Yes.
know. Anyway, Billy goes off with Delta and the new princess, and Ray's like, "What the hell? What?"
Ray just has her heart brutally smashed and destroyed by Billy, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, take care of my bike," and it's just
She's
totally
just like,
mended.
all right, sure. And the doctor and Mel are like, "Our work here is done. Let's go to Disneyland."
They probably do go to Disneyland after that, to be honest.
You go to Disney World, the better Disney resort.
I don't know, because I've never been to Disney World.
Well, I mean, people say it's better, but I wouldn't
Yeah, but
know.
we're getting Star Wars Land at Disneyland.
Meh. I'm kind of over Star Wars at this point. I mean, I like the original 6 movies. Yeah, the original 6. And 7 was great, but yeah, not really a fan of anything else that they've ever done with it or are doing with it right now.
Well, Episode 8 is coming in 11 months.
Oh boy. Really hyped for that right now. Totally can't wait.
Oh, the serial ends on a shot of the beekeeper just kind of looking
Yeah,
back at the
it's like a
camera.
real awkward shot of him.
That was
Maybe
like
he was the mastermind behind it all, and he was controlling
he
Gavrock
was the
from behind the
master
scenes.
all along.
Behind
Yeah.
the screens, the B screen things.
Oh, yeah, and Weissmuller and what's his name get the satellite, I guess. The doctor's like, here's your satellite. It also looks suspiciously like Sputnik, but American satellites in the 50s didn't look anything like Sputnik.
Yeah, well, you want historical accuracy, you can get it somewhere else.
At least as far as I know, anyway. Maybe they just launched a Sputnik clone in the 50s.
Maybe this serial is trying to divulge sensitive and classified information that nobody knows and has failed miserably in the 25 years that it's been out. Actually, more like 30.
Except that NASA's a public entity, and therefore, like, everything NASA does actually has to be published
Yeah,
publicly
as far
within
as you
24
know.
hours.
As far as you know.
It's actually the law.
As far as you know.
No, it's the law.
As far as you know. We don't know.
We do know, actually.
We don't know for sure.
We do.
Can never know for sure.
We do.
Can never know anything for sure.
We actually do know this for sure.
Can't know for sure. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. And we were talking about this serial before, and I described it as awkward just in sort of a funny little quip. And like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good description. It's pretty awkward to watch. Characters were pretty awkward.
Fun, though.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I liked that. I liked this because it was fun. Which we haven't had like an explicitly just fun serial in a long time.
I guess maybe since Black Orchid. Which, I mean, might have, I don't know.
Black Orchid was more of a slog to get through than fun. But I don't know.
thought Black Orchid was pretty fun. But hey.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I still think that the quality of serials is getting progressively better this season.
Sure, yeah, I guess this was pretty much the best so far.
So if that continues, next week's will be
I mean, but it also keeps
very
up
good.
It also keeps up the trend of like just a mediocre serial with like really weird musical choices. So
Well, Sylvester McCoy is also, I guess, nailing down his portrayal of the Doctor, I suppose. He's not as whimsical as the second Doctor. He's kind of toned it down since that first serial, but he still has flashes of it, I think.
I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see. But is this like the first serial that's set in Wales? I think
Yeah,
it might
be.
be. Not that I know anything about Wales. I just
Can
know
you
it kind
imagine
of
having
exists.
Ray as the companion? Then we get to listen to that sick Welsh accent every week that, like, disappeared for a couple scenes in the middle somewhere. Because I remember Ray started speaking in episode 3 with a Welsh accent. I was like, oh yeah, she's Welsh. Because she hadn't been talking in it for, like, a couple scenes.
Nah, I don't know. I didn't notice.
I guess that falls under that blanket statement of the accents in the serial were just, eh.
Also, yeah, come to think of it, I guess Mel didn't really do anything at all.
Yeah, the Doctor sidelined her for Ray. Every time they said Rey, I thought of Star
He
Wars.
sidecarred her.
By the way. Oh
like the
my
sidecar
gosh.
from the... Oh, yeah, I did think of Star Wars every time they said Rey.
Email us at thedoctor@decadavevegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters. Your thoughts on Rey, the Star Wars character, not the Doctor Who character. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, and Google Play, all at Trust Your Doctor. Leave a rating if you like the show.
Check us on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook. Also check us on Twitter at TYD Podcast and follow us on Twitter. And next week we watch Dragonfire. But until then, the end.